call this regular meeting of council to order, and if I can ask everybody to please rise for the national anthem. Okay, I just want to remind everybody that our council meetings are live streamed and are available on YouTube. Okay, so tonight we don't have any disclosure, or do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none. We don't have any presentations, we don't have any public hearings, and we don't have any delegations, but we do have mayor's remarks, and they are brief. This coming Sunday, we will be hosting the annual Mayor's Levy. It will be at Concessies this year. Just to remind everybody, in this term of council, we decided to rotate where we would host the Mayor's Levies so that we could showcase our local restaurants. So in year one, we were at the 2x4. Last year, we were at the Wainfleet restaurant, and this year we will be out at Concessies. They have graciously agreed to reopen briefly to host us, so everybody is welcome to come and visit all of us between 1 and 4 p.m. this coming Sunday, January 8th, so we hope everybody will come out and attend. And our first budget meeting is scheduled to be held in council chambers on Tuesday, January 10th at 7 p.m. However, we do have a report in here. So if council approves the amended schedule tonight, that meeting will be moved to Tuesday, January 17th at 7 p.m. So we'll have to see the will of council. The next MPCA meeting will be January 18th at Balls Falls, and I will be bringing the motion forward from our council that we were discussing before the meeting started, when it started a couple minutes late. So the meeting is at 9:30 in the morning at Balls Falls, and for those who cannot attend, it will be live streamed as well. And the next regional council meeting is January 19th, and the next floodplain meeting, we haven't had one for a couple of months, that is at 5:30 on January 26th at Balls Falls, and then our next regular council meeting is January 31st. So we will move along to the adoption of the minutes.
That the meeting minutes of the regular meeting of council held on December 6th, 2016, and the minutes of the special meeting of council held on December 20th, 2016 be adopted as circulated.
So I need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Alderman Gilmore, seconded by Alderman Conk. Are there any errors or omissions or discrepancies in the minutes? Okay, seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, and that is carried. And now we'll move on to our first staff report.
That administrative staff report ASR 1 of 2017 regarding Niagara Central Airport Commission debenture and the recommendations contained therein be adopted as circulated.
So I need a mover and a seconder for that report. Moved by Alderman Hessel, seconded by Alderman Conk. Is there any discussion or questions on this report? Alderman Gilmore.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For you to Adam, just curious, the interest rate that we charge ourselves, is that the same interest rate that we earn on the money when it's wherever, I assume it's in the bank or in some sort of GIC, are those interest rates exactly the same all the time? Or what is the policy as far as how much we repay?
Through you, Madam Mayor. For this particular one, what we did was, we took what the interest rate they were earning on these funds, and we bumped it 1%. So they're earning 1% on these funds, so we're proposing to pay them at 2% to give a bit of an incentive to borrow internally.
Somebody else has a comment.
Did you want to comment?
Well, I'm curious, I mean, why we're charging ourselves more than we're getting for the money if it's just tied up in a GIC. Why wouldn't it be the same? I mean, the people are, the fund, I shouldn't say the people, the fund is only gonna earn 1% if it stays where it is, and yet we're borrowing our own money and paying back the fund more. I'm not clear on the rationale.
Through you, Madam Mayor. The rate we earn can fluctuate, so over the course of the 3-year period, it could potentially change. So what we're proposing is to keep it in line with what they had been previously earning. So if you recall from the last sort of process where we did this, it was also 2%. So we're keeping it in line for that reason.
Madam Mayor, one final question. Does the amount of money that we borrow internally from ourselves have any effect on our ability to venture other projects, or is that not a negative consideration?
I believe it is, through you, Madam Mayor, I believe it is a component of our total debt or calculation, but the amount is quite nominal, so it won't really impact it. We're allowed to go to 25% of our annual revenue, so in this case, the amount would basically be nothing.
Other questions or comments from council? Okay, seeing none then, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Now we'll go to the next report.
That Administrative Staff Report ASR 2 of 2017 regarding budget schedule amendment and the recommendations contained therein be adopted as circulated.
Mover and the seconder, moved by Alderman Dykstra and seconded by Alderman Gilmore. So we have, just trying to find it here. So we're looking, I think basically looking to, well, the report or the recommendation is to amend the budget schedule so that we move, instead of meeting for the budget on January 10th, which is next Tuesday, we will meet on January 17th. So are there any questions or concerns with this? Alderman Hassels.
And then you kind of want to bring it to the council meeting on the 31st?
I believe that, I can look to Adam, but I believe that's what it, in the report, that would be the final, or the ratified budget. That was when we would ratify budget.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that's when we're proposing to have our final budget ratified on the 31st.
I don't know, for me, it doesn't work that good. I'm going to be gone that whole week, and we come back, I think, the 28th or whatever. So I don't know if we could push it back to the next council meeting. I believe Alderman Conn wasn't going to be here either. Because we're pretty early compared to other years anyways, aren't we? It might not be early, but I think.
Yeah, I think in the past we were always into February, March. So I know there was reasoning to try and have it done earlier this year. I can't remember exactly what that was. Maybe Adam could comment. But Adam, do you see any implications if it was moved to the February 14th council meeting?
Madam Mayor, there shouldn't be any real issues with pushing it back. I know part of the operational review that happened in 2016, the recommendation was for the budget to be passed as close to kind of the beginning of the year as possible. February 14th still would be over a month ahead of when the budget was finalized last year, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, so we would need an amendment, and also it was mentioned, Meredith and I, of course, we meet before council meetings, and we talked about live streaming the budget meetings. So we wondered if, I didn't know what council thought, I kind of saw both. I don't know how many people are interested in watching the budget meeting, like it'd be above and beyond the yearly contract, what we pay for live streaming. So I think that, I mean, there definitely are people who follow along, especially if the weather's bad and they don't want to venture out, so they can watch it from the comfort of their home. So I don't know what council's thinking, but Meredith and I thought it was a good idea to bring that to your attention. I don't believe we live streamed last year, but wondering what oh, we did, okay. So wondering if council wants to proceed with that again. And if you do, then maybe we can make it one big amendment to this report. So am I seeing nodding? So does someone want to make a motion then to, so Alderman Hessels, you're going to move to amend the last, ratifying the budget for the 14th, and that we live stream the budget deliberations? Sure. Okay. And a seconder for that, Alderman Gilmore. Any discussion on that amendment? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, that's carried, and then we'll vote on the report as amended. So I will call the question. All those in favor, that's carried, and now we will move on to the next one.
That building staff report 1 of 2017 regarding building permit report from July to October 2016, and the recommendations contained therein be adopted and circulated.
Mover and seconder, moved by Alderman Dykstra, seconded by Alderman Conk. Any questions or discussion? Alderman Dykstra.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just for my information, I don't know whether it's related to us not having a chief building official, but we were seeing building staff reports every council meeting, or are we going to start seeing them again, or is it, because this is a few months here all added up. So are you aware whether we're going to see them more regularly? I was wondering why we weren't seeing staff reports from the building department.
We can ask. I'm going to assume that it was because we were without, as you mentioned, a chief building official for a bit, but I don't know that for sure. So that's something that we can go back and ask, and maybe request that council would prefer to see it go back to a monthly basis rather than in one big sum like we're seeing it tonight. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, that's carried. Now we're on to correspondence. We don't need to read it. All right, we're still working out the Kingston correspondence, which we discussed earlier today, and we note your concerns, Alderman Conk. So, so this piece of correspondence, I don't know if anybody has any questions. We can get Adam and Meredith and I had a discussion about it, and we weren't completely clear on why. There was some speculation as to why this was coming through, and there was a suggestion that maybe council would want to refer this back to staff so that they could provide recommendations. We were thinking of maybe referring it back to the tax clerk, but I don't know if anybody has any questions about it or if they wanted Adam to comment on his knowledge of it. Alderman Conk.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm just curious to know, it does say in the report that they don't have all of the information that they need for all of the municipalities, hence the request to provide feedback, but how would that impact us here in Wainfleet? I mean, I don't think we have any industrial vacancies, so how would that impact us?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, at the current time, it wouldn't really affect us at all. Going forward, it could, but at where we are currently, it wouldn't have an impact on this municipality.
Okay, any further questions or comments? So I think I'm looking for a motion. Then the easiest thing would be to have Sherry go back and make recommendations. So so moved by Alderman Dykstra, seconded by Alderman Conk. All those in favor, that is carried. And now we are into bylaws.
The following bylaws be read and passed this third day of January 2017. Bylaw number 1, 2017 being a bylaw to borrow the sum of $17,998.93 to finance the township's portion of the capital improvements to be carried out by the Niagara Central Airport Commission. Bylaw number 2 of 2017 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 4 of 2015 being a bylaw to appoint members to the Township of Wainfleet Public Library Board.
Mover and a seconder for those bylaws, Alderman Gilmore moves it, seconded by Alderman Conk. Any discussion on the bylaws? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, and that's carried. Any notices of motion tonight? Nope. Proclamations, we don't have any other business. Alderman Conk.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm going to go back to correspondence. Can we bring forward number 361 to the next council meeting? Although I won't be here, it is with regards to upper tier funding for fire departments. It was a resolution made by a very obscure township I've never heard of before, but nevertheless, if they think they can secure funding from the upper tiers, it's great.
Okay, we'll have Meredith note that. Do we need a motion to? Okay, so can I get, so Alderman Conk is moving that's on the next council correspondence, seconded by Alderman Hessels. All those in favor, that is carried. Any other business? Alderman Dykstra.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's in regards to the fire. I realize Michael's not here and the fire chief is not here either. I was approached last week by a business owner who pays annually for a fire burn permit. And being that the office was closed last week, but yet the business was open, they had no way of contacting the township. There was no protocol in their permit that they paid for, how they were supposed to, or who they were supposed to contact. So they were it was kind of a slow week last week being between the holidays, and they wanted to do a burn, they couldn't get a hold of anybody. So he kind of vented his frustration as to why are we charging for a permit and not giving some sort of a, so I'm just wondering whether we could maybe come up with a solution to that. I'm not asking for any answers tonight, but it was a frustrated business owner here in the township that's paid for a burn permit, which we charge for businesses, and we're not allowed to have a burn because they couldn't get a hold of anybody last week. So I think it's a valid concern. Why we're charging and selling permits when they have no way of contacting anybody when the office is closed. So.
No, that's a valid concern that I would think I don't know, you as the fire rep would want to pass that along to the chief, or I mean, we can make sure that he's aware and also let Irene know, because Irene's the administrative assistant to fire, but that would be definitely something to mention to them.
Suggest that I just email them and do it, or should?
Well, since you brought it up here, then we will make sure that or actually Meredith wants to comment.
Well, I just know that through Madam Mayor, to Alderman Dykstra, I know that on weekends, nobody is here and it states on the form that they need to call in on the Friday, even if they're going to burn or not. If they're suspecting they'll burn, when the office is closed, they still have to call in and leave a voice message or something. And that happens on the Friday before because the office is closed on the weekend. So, I mean, the office closure was posted on social media and our answer machine and everything. So they did have due notice that the office would be closed during the holidays.
So does it clearly indicate that I've never seen the burn permit form or anything. It's clearly indicated that they are, during the holidays, they would need to call, basically we're shut down for 2 weeks, so they would need to be getting a permission to burn for 2 solid weeks, you know what I mean? Like, they call the day of, they want to have a burn.
We weren't closed for 2 full weeks, but
For the full week,
yeah.
during their business hours, I mean, they call the day of, it looks like a good day to burn, they call. They were just, like I said.
Yep, maybe it's something that does need to be added to the form for holidays or reminders, so that's definitely something that we can pass along to staff. Any other business? Okay, seeing none, I guess we'll just move to the bylaw to confirm the proceeding of council.
Bylaw number 3, 2017, being a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the actions of the council at its regular meeting held on the 3rd day of January 2017, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 3rd day of January 2017.
So I need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Alderman Hessel, seconded by Alderman Gilmore. All those in favor? That's carried. And then I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Alderman Hessel, seconded by Alderman Gilmore. All those in favor? And that's carried.